Hey folks, Will here again with Happily Ever Outdoors. So in this video we're going to be taking a look at Titan Survival's new Signal Panel Emergency Survival Blanket. Let's keep watching. Alright folks, so if you've been following our YouTube channel, you know we did a video a little bit earlier this month in our beginner quick tip series talking about how important it is to carry Mylar emergency blankets, and we mentioned this blanket a little bit in that video, show it off just a little bit. Of course, I'll drop a link in the description below for you to that video if you want to check it out. But today we're just going to take a in-depth look at this one particular product, and I'm going to let you guys know why I think this is probably the best emergency blanket on the market to date. First off, one of the things I love about it is the size. This thing is 70 inches by 90 inches, which definitely makes it bigger than most emergency blankets out there on the market. And you can see that, I mean, from the size of it, it is definitely substantially larger, probably like double in the thickness, but about the same dimensions of what you would see on your kind of normal, traditionally sized emergency blanket. But the weight is still very low, and I definitely think the added value you get here is well worth the additional thickness you got to deal with. So let's open this thing up so you guys can see just how big it really is. Alright, so as you guys can see, this is a really good sized blanket. I'm 5'6" just to give you kind of a point of reference, but definitely a lot larger than what you're probably used to seeing with Mylar emergency blankets. Now, if you're wondering about those pieces of kind of tissue paper, kind of wacky tissue paper that fell out of there, those were something that Titan Survival added during research and development, just because of with a Mylar blanket this size, it had a tendency to stick together, so it was hard to peel apart. So they added those pieces of paper in there just so you wouldn't have that issue if you were trying to get this thing out in a hurry. Maybe it was starting to rain or something like that, and you really needed to get covered up quick. You wouldn't be sitting there trying to, you know, fight with peeling those pieces apart. So while that does give you that one little bit of waste you've got to deal with if you decide to use this thing, I think the trade-off is well worth it for not having to deal with that clinging issue. And before you think this paper is completely worthless, one thing I found is that it is highly flammable. So in an emergency, you could actually use this to get a fire started. You see how easily that burns? So always be thinking. But back to the blanket itself, some of the immediate obvious benefits of the size itself is that this thing can actually completely wrap you up and cover you, giving you full shelter. Many of the Mylar blankets on the market are just plain too small. They might cover your upper body, but they're not really going to cover your legs. They're not going to really give you good protection from the rain. They're just kind of too small to really be useful. With a blanket this size, even as a grown adult, you can get your head completely covered, get your body completely wrapped up, and you're actually fully insulated and protected both from the elements as well as keeping your body heat contained. So in my opinion, that right there is huge, and that's definitely worth the added bulk. Another important note to go along with that is that if you happen to be out with a hiking partner and this is the only blanket that you have, you've got enough room that you could still get two people cuddled up underneath this thing. Another added benefit of these oversized dimensions is that it makes this emergency blanket very effective as an improvised shelter tarp in an emergency situation. You can see this is nothing fancy at all, but it didn't require any cordage, any additional tools. I was able just to find a tree that was kind of grown bent over. You could also find a tree that had fallen over, and you just rig it up real quick and you've got a shelter. You're all set. And if you had a second one of these or a smaller one like this, also from Titan Survival, you would be well shielded from the elements by the waterproof material, and your body heat would be contained. And these are the kind of things that can really determine whether you make it back out of the woods or not. By the way, an added bonus with a shelter like this, if you're able to get a small fire going in front of your shelter, all of that heat is also going to be reflected back onto you. And really, you've got a shelter here that's big enough that 2 people could huddle up underneath it, and that's something you would just never get with a standard size emergency blanket. Last but not least, this blanket intentionally uses a standardized military distress signal color pattern to help you in signaling rescue. So you've got this purple and orange split down the middle, 2 very unnatural colors that are going to stand out. So if you had a good open clearing or maybe access to a beach, you could lay this thing out. You would just need to put some weight on it to pin down the corners, and if anyone was flying overhead, this would definitely grab their attention. Or you could take this blanket along with a long branch and turn it into an oversized makeshift flag to throw some motion in there as well. But the good news is, even if you're in dense forest where you may not be able to signal help from the air, if you have a shelter constructed out of this thing, if any ground crews are coming through, this is going to catch their eye. Along with all this, in my personal experience, using these things out in the woods for a little bit, practicing making improvised shelters, things along those lines, they're definitely a lot more durable than some of the other Mylar emergency blankets that I've used in the past. I've seen some just, get a small hole and just completely rip out. These seem to have a little more of a stretch to them. I have punched some holes in them. I mean, they're not indestructible, but they definitely seem like they hold up a little bit better to abuse. So that's something that could definitely be important if you were lost out in the woods for an extended period of time. So currently, this is definitely my personal favorite emergency blanket, hands down. A product like this can literally mean the difference between life and death, and this is what I've got stashed in my hiking packs, in my emergency kit, in my car. It's the one that I'm willing to trust. Because whether you're trying to prepare for a vehicular breakdown or maybe a bug out situation where you have to leave your home in a natural disaster, or simply getting lost out in the woods, I think you're going to be really happy with this blanket, and it's going to perform. Now, before we close out, I'm really excited. We're going to get to do another bonus giveaway for you guys thanks to our friends at Titan Survival. So for one lucky winner, we'll be sending out a brand new 5-pack of Titan Survival's new signal panel emergency blankets, and we'll also throw in 4 of their smaller camouflage pattern emergency blankets. I'll go ahead and throw the deadline on the screen. We're just going to give you guys a few days to enter, but all you need to do to enter this contest is to comment below with the hashtag Titan Survival giveaway as it appears on your screen. Once the giveaway closes, we will randomly select a winner from the comments using a random comment picker app, and we will reach out to you in the comments below the video, as well as through direct message if you have that set up on YouTube. As always, we'll throw links in the description if you guys want to check out any of the products featured in this video, and of course, we would love to hear from you in the comments. If you're not subscribed to our channel already, I hope you'll consider doing so, and while you're at it, go ahead and turn on those notifications so you'll be the first to know when the next HEO video or giveaway comes up on our channel. Thank you guys for watching, and until next time, stay happy, stay outdoors.